Moore's law states that the number of transistors double every 2 years. But what are transistors? Transistors are semiconductors that can act as a switch or amplifier depending on the conditions. A semiconductor is a substance that can conduct or insulate electricity depending on the conditions. History of transistors. In 1947, John Bardeen with 2 others developed the first working transistors. In 1958, Texas Instruments invented the first working integrated circuit. In 1960 to 70s, transistors became central to computers. In 1980, transistors were integrated into smaller radios and PCs. In 2007, the first iPhone was released, and more transistors were integrated. In 2011, FinFET transistors were invented, and in 2024, an adoption of GAA transistors was expected. Here's a chart of how transistors improved over time. There are 2 main types of transistors, bipolar junction and field effect. Bipolar junction transistors uses electrons and holes to control the current, while field effect uses electric fields. I'll be going over bipolar only due to time. There are 3 parts of a transistor. With a flat edge facing you, the left pin is the collector, middle pin is the base, and the rightmost pin is the emitter. This is the same for both PNP and NPN transistor, but their electron flow is flipped. Here is a diagram of how to connect an NPN transistor to a circuit. For a PNP transistor, the battery and LEDs will be flipped. Transistors are semiconductors, as mentioned earlier. They go through a process called doping, where impurities are added. Pure silicon is a semiconductor. Other elements are added to replace some of the silicon atoms to create extra holes, extra electrons, or holes, as shown here. An analogy of a transistor is water through pipes. Imagine water flowing through a pipe, and a disc is put to block the pipe. A branched pipe is connected, and there is a swing gate. Flow of water is controlled by the swing gate. The further the swing gate opens, the more water is allowed to flow. And here is another diagram of how the N-type doped semiconductor and P-type doped are put together, where emitter is the N-type doping and base is P-type, collector is N-type again, and it creates a forward bias if you connect a battery to the N-type and P-type. So the electrons go through the N-type and then to the P-type and then back. And it creates a reverse bias between the P-type and N-type. So if a battery is connected here, electrons will go this way, and if there's too much electrons, it will go through this side, and it creates a gap here. If the voltage on the base pin is increased, the transistor will eventually be fully open and allow it to move faster. So this shows how it amplifies the signal. And in the pipe analogy, the forward bias part, that circuit is the branch, and this is the main pipe. And transistors have an immense impact on the society. All technology like computer, smartphone, anything that requires logical circuits, they require transistors. Transistors are used to make integrated circuits, which are used to do logical computation. And some environmental impact. So the material the transistor is usually made of is not very good for the environment, but I read an article that is trying to make transistors out of wood, which is interesting. And thank you for watching. Here are my references.